If your bass drum foot is unable to play quick kick drum doubles like you'd hear in songs like Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin or Walk This Way by Aerosmith, then today's lesson is for you. Learn the twofold secret to gaining significant bass drum speed, and you'll be feeling invincible with a tight, precise right foot that can play smooth, loud, and even doubles. The best part is this whole secret that I'm teaching you today works regardless of whether you're playing heel down or heel up, and it does not matter what kind of bass drum pedal you have, whether it's a DW 9000 or that super cheap rickety pedal that came with your starter kit. It literally does not matter. Stick with me today, and I'll teach you my 4-step method to a faster, more agile bass drum foot. You can do this. Hey, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer. I'm so glad you're hanging out today. I help self-taught beginners know what to practice so they can nail songs and be able to become the drummer other people want to have in their band. But hey, it's kind of hard to be the drummer people want in their band if you're having trouble playing a song like Walk This Way that might be called on a gig, and your kick drum pattern is super sloppy because you can't play kick doubles. But thankfully, this is a super common struggle that we've all been through, where you've just got that lack of smoothness, the lack of clarity. You're not able to play quickly and loudly. Maybe you can do, a quick, like that. I remember figuring that out when I was in high school. But doing this, that's another story, and that's where the trouble is. You want to be able to play something like, but instead you're only able to do, or something like that, where it totally just trips over itself and you're not able to play those loud enough. That is the super common struggle. I've been there. When I was in high school, I remember struggling with this thing exactly, where I would try to play the kick doubles and they would just fall apart. But I happened upon a solution to this problem that was kind of a long-term solution, and I realized years later looking back, oh, that was what actually solved this for me. There was a particular song that we were playing in the high school worship band at my church that I was playing in right after I got started playing the drums. And this song had a bunch of pounding sixteenths. There were parts of the song where we would go into this build that was like, in true modern worship fashion, it just builds and builds and everything's all epic and huge and dramatic. And so minutes of the song were literally that, where it's just nonstop building, and I couldn't play it. I wasn't able to do that, but I spent a lot of time working at it, eventually getting to where I could finally get my foot to do that, then to play the 16th notes and be able to play the song. And then after playing the song over and over and over again, something magical happened. I realized, okay, now I can actually play the doubles that I was having trouble playing before. So what happened? Well, basically it's what I'm referring to as our twofold secret today that's super simple, not at all rocket science. And so I'll share this with you. Before we get into that though, I want to give you a super practical guide for really giving you, this is your companion to today's lesson, to give you some practical stuff to practice. And that is my 3-part daily practice guide for the busy drummer. If you've just got 30 minutes a day to practice, this guide is full of really good stuff for you to work on. And you can take what you learned today and apply it to some of the exercises there in that guide. If you've had trouble growing and feeling like you know what you're doing and you're actually getting results from your practicing, this is the guide for you. Because once you know what to practice and once you know the 3 core areas in which to balance your practicing, then you grow like crazy. You make so much more progress. And so be sure to grab that guide. That's going to help you grow a lot faster in the coming months and even years. It's helped out so many students of mine, and it's going to give you a place to really apply what we're working on today as we talk about foot technique and foot strength. So be sure to grab that PDF e-guide in the description below. It is totally free. Okay, so here's that twofold secret. Number 1, you have to build strength no matter which technique or hack you might use. And then number 2, stop practicing foot doubles, which seems kind of ironic and may make no sense. Stop practicing kick doubles, at least for now. It's something we'll circle back to. So if we unpack this a little bit, just to explain this a little bit, we need to use singles, kick drum singles, to build strength, because that then makes doubles easy and natural. So regardless of whether you're playing heel down or heel up, you have to build the strength in order to have the speed you need for the quick kick doubles. And what I mean by, you have to build the strength no matter which technique or hack. So there's a million, little techniques and tricks you can learn online. And I remember doing this in high school, trying to figure out, the foot twist technique, the slide technique, the heel toe technique, all these different things. And there's nothing wrong with those, but they still require a lot of practice, a lot of repetition, and a level of strength to then drive that. You still have to have the strength to drive that motion and make the loud notes on the bass drum happen. So there's not just a quick trick you can learn and then magically you've got speed and control. You still have to patiently build that strength in order to have the control to pull it off. So don't mishear me, there's nothing wrong with those techniques, but that should not be the first thing you're seeking. The first thing you do should not be to figure out what little trick you can do to play kick drum doubles. The first thing you should do is seek to build strength by practicing singles. So that's the big secret. Let's now take action on this. Let me give you my 4 steps to a faster, more agile bass drum foot. This is super practical. You can sit down at your kit and follow along with me. This is super simple and doable, even if you're a total beginner. But as always, with any of these non-glamorous lessons, I always want you thinking long-term, because you're not going to magically play Walk This Way or Immigrant Song tomorrow or next week. But you might be a lot closer next month. And a year from now, you'll totally be nailing it. You've got to have that long-term view. Otherwise, you're not going to succeed at the drums. So you got to be patient with this. You can't rush this. Okay, here we go. 4 steps to a faster, more agile bass drum foot. Number 1, play slow beater bounce singles as 8th notes at 60. So if we set our metronome to 60, that's pretty slow. Here's the 8th note. And so we're going to play 8 notes at 60. Like that, but a critical piece of this is that these are beater bounce. We're not doing this. We're not pounding the beater into the head, just like how with our stick, we're not gonna go. We're not gonna caveman drum, we're gonna bounce the beater off naturally, that way we establish a motion. By the way, in order to do that, it can help to slide your foot back a little bit. If you're playing heel up, be about right here. Don't be up here, otherwise you'll have trouble. If you're playing heel down, I'm a size 11, my heel is on the heel plate, and I'm allowing about 2 to 3 inches between the end of my shoe and the chain. That way you can actually have space to bounce the beater, otherwise you won't be able to help but bury it. So you've got to have that space. And what I want you doing as you're playing this is thinking about how is this sounding, how is it feeling? Are these even? Are they in time? Are the dynamics even? Are some notes loud and other notes soft? Or are they all nice and consistent? They need to be consistent. As you're playing that, think about the rest of your body. Are you sitting here relaxed? Are you relaxing your shoulders? Is your left leg relaxing? Or is something tense? Sometimes as we're focusing in on what our right foot's doing, something else over here will have a weird reaction to it. And we're like, it's kind of ridiculous, but sometimes these things happen naturally without us realizing it. And so be thinking about the rest of your body. How am I feeling? Am I making a weird face? Or am I relaxing? Am I staying relaxed while I do this? You've got to stay relaxed while you do it. So this is that active practicing that we talk about a lot in these lessons, of paying attention not just to what you're doing, but how well you're doing it. That's really critical here. Then step 2, as long as these are in time and even dynamically, gradually increase the tempo. Work your way up to 8th notes at 120. Now, this is not a process to be rushed. We're going to go step by step here. And so you have to be you have to do some self-analysis. You have to be the judge of how fast you can go right now. Start at 60, and then if it feels really good there, go ahead and jump to 80. I'm going to play these at 80 for you, 80, then 100, then 120. And so you can go up in increments of 20, 10, 5 if you need to. Take as much time with this step as you need to, because remember, do not go any faster if they're not in time, even dynamically, and you're relaxed. If anything is tight, tense, feeling weird, out of control, inconsistent down here, stop, back off the tempo a little bit, gradually work your way up. Otherwise, it's no good. You're just going to be pounding your head against the wall in frustration, and nothing's going to change if you don't have that patient approach to slow practice. So once we're ready to go 80, here's what that'll sound like. and 100. Now we'll go 120. By the way, in order to get this fast, you're not just sitting here playing at 4 bars like I am. Right now, for demonstration purposes, I'm just playing for 4 bars. But what you need to be doing is seeing if you can keep this up for a whole minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. That's how you build the strength. And that's why songs are important. We'll talk about that a little more in a moment. Why it's important to find a song that you can practice this to, because that's way more fun. Okay, here's 120. And then, of course, from there, you can gradually go faster and faster as you're able. But that is a great place to be. If you can do steady, loud, even 8s like that at 120 or 16ths at 60, you do the math. That rate of playing is a fantastic spot to be. But, of course, all the tempos in between as well. So now step 3, and I'll say this. You don't have to wait until you can get these at 120 to go into step 3. But ideally, you're paying a lot of attention to what you're doing down here, how you're doing it, you're getting things smooth, and then you move into step 3. What is step 3? Find a song that is in the 120 to 150 beats per minute range, or the 60 to 75 range, that's half of that has driving 8s or 16ths respectively. Does that make sense? So find a song that's 120 with lots of 8th notes, or 60 and lots of 16th notes. Or when you're ready, 150 with lots of 8th notes, or 75 with lots of 16th notes. And then use that song to build strength. So back to my story from earlier, this particular song that I was using in high school, it was called With Everything by Hillsong. I think it was Hillsong, not Hillsong United. You can look it up on Spotify, Apple Music, you'll find it. And this song, goes on really long. It's at least 7 minutes. There's a couple different versions of it out there. The one that we were playing in my high school worship band was about 7 minutes long. And the last 2 to 3 minutes of it is just dun, 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 that constant building. So if that kind of song is your jam, great. Use that to practice building foot strength, because you'll have a lot of fun there. Or here's another song, When You Were Young by The Killers. This is a really good one that's a driving 8th note groove. The song is like 120 or 130. I didn't write down the tempo. It's fairly quick, but not too quick. And it's not constant driving 8. So the groove is basically... So it's not boom, 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 boom. You get a break every backbeat. There's no more than 3 8th notes in a row. And so that kind of groove can be really beneficial, so that you're able to build the strength, but you also get a break, every 4th note, so you're not constantly hammering it out. And so that makes the song a very practical, helpful one for building strength. If you like The Killers, if you like 2000s driving heavy rock, it's a lot of fun. Another song, speaking of 2000s rock, Hallelujah by Paramore. If you like punk rock from 2007 or 8, which I definitely did when I was in high school, that's a really good song. So this one is slower, but it's got 16ths. A whole bunch of the song is... some form or fashion of that throughout the song. Boom, 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 got boom, 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 got. And so you might have, 4 kick drum notes in a row as 16ths. And so once you're up to that tempo, once you're able to do that, this is a great song for really enhancing that strength, keeping that strength up, because it's so much more fun than sitting there hammering out exercises, as we all know. So those are just some starting points. I want you to find your own songs if possible. 4 on the floor songs are also really good, because even though you're not playing fast, you're playing a lot of repetitive kick drum notes. And so any song that might be a 4 on the floor like this, doesn't matter exactly what the groove is, anything like that, or a song that might be... anything that's just got some kick notes in it that happen over and over again loudly for 3 or 4 minutes, that's going to be a really great song for you to use to build strength. And that's really powerful, because step number 4, return to doubles practice. So earlier I told you stop practicing doubles. Stop for now because you need to get your singles in order and get that motion happening, get everything feeling good, build the strength. Now you're ready to return to doubles. And what you'll find is that your foot is now way faster, having spent significant time strengthening it via singles. That was what happened to me. After a few months, probably 3 or 4 months of practicing that song with everything and sitting here and going, and just going at it. After a few months of that, I found, oh, you know what? I can play kick doubles grooves way more easily. And so it didn't happen overnight, but it did happen over time as I was building that strength with singles, and it totally paid off. By the way, there's a past lesson here on the channel from a while back that has a similar title, similar lesson topic as this one. It's called 2 Problems Stalling Your Fast Kick Doubles. And really, in that lesson, we kind of talk about the same thing of, focusing on singles in other areas instead of doubles. In that lesson, we take more of the coordination turn, and we talk about how to make sure you're incorporating your right foot into your grooves, because without being able to do that, this is kind of also no good, right? Even if you build all the strength up and you're able to go that's great and all, but if you're not able to tie that into a groove, it's kind of no good, right? And so there's an additional lesson here on the channel. I'm linking it below for you to go check out next if you would like some more detail on this. But hey, here's what to expect as you're practicing this. If you take action on this and you have that patient approach of the next 3 months, 6 months, year of focusing on singles, building strength, here's some things that'll happen. Number 1, the obvious, your right foot won't get tired so easily. This was a big deal for me because my whole leg would get really tired. And eventually I built up the strength so that I wasn't worrying about my tired right leg and I could just play and have fun. That's a big deal. You'll have better dynamic control. You'll be able to sit here and not only go and play loudly, but you'll also be able to go and play softly. You'll be able to go like that, or you'll be able to play whatever you want to down there. And that's a big deal. You'll have a much higher speed limit. You'll be able to sit here and play songs that are with stuff like that, or you'll even be able to play stuff like that because speed won't be nearly as much of a limitation. And you'll be able to nail any kick pattern that comes your way, especially like Walk This Way or Immigrant Song. And what's really cool, and this is something that students have told me before, if you're able to play any kick drum pattern, you'll essentially be able to play any song. If you can play the kick drum pattern, you've pretty much got the groove, and therefore you've got the song. And that is a feeling of feeling empowered, feeling invincible, feeling capable and confident, like, yes, I can do this, just like I was telling you about there in the intro. You will be able to do this. You just have to be patient and give it some time. So before you go, time for some self-reflection, self-analysis here, because I want to make sure you are taking this lesson and running with it and applying it. How are your kick singles? That's my question. Maybe you've been working a bunch on doubles, and that's probably why you're here today, because of that whole frustration surrounding doubles. But how are your kick singles? Are you able to play singles slowly and evenly, or quickly and evenly? If there's any issue going on with the singles, that's why there's an issue going on with the doubles. So that's what I want you to evaluate in your playing. Record yourself, video yourself, just watch and listen and see, okay, what's going on here? Do I need to focus on my singles? And target that, solve that, take action, to follow these steps today, and you're gonna get that solved, and it's not gonna be a frustration anymore. Hey, go check out that previous lesson for kind of a next step for where to go with your coordination, and be sure to grab the 3-part daily practice guide free PDF e-guide so that you've got some more exercises you can use to apply all of this and continue building your coordination, because that's a big deal. If you feel like you just haven't been growing as much this year as you wanted to, and you feel disorganized and you just feel like you don't know what to practice, that guide will help you so much with being organized and knowing that you're getting things done, you're getting results, and you'll grow so much as a result. So many of my students have started out using that guide and gone from there to so many other places and grown a ton. So you can join them. You'll get those same results too if you stick with it. So be sure to grab that guide. All right, I'll see you on the next lesson. As always, stay non-glamorous. You can do this.